Hello again, everybody. Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. These are the charts of the day. It is Tuesday night, the 29th of July, and despite the fact that there is a lot of stocks going down and the market drifting, we've got a lot of stocks that are moving up, and we're still playing that side. Now, some of my shorts are working out, but I'm going to still focus on the long side because there's a lot of stocks that appear to be emerging. Let's take a look at ARIA. This is a stock that we had a nice swing trade on, if you remember, back here in November, December, January. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave spike up move, and that resulted in this long consolidation that's lasted since the end of January. So this is a 6-7 month consolidation in a slow dropping channel. Now take a look at the last week. Suddenly 2 big days of volume as the stock surged across the moving averages to the 50 and to the declining tops line. Backed off the test of 10, spiked right back up to resistance. This is what I'll be watching tomorrow. If it gets across 640, this stock is headed for 7. If it gets across that, we may see a lot more. Matter of fact, not 7, 7.25. That's my first target. Beyond that, I'm looking for a stock to possibly get up to 8.5 3/4. Sorry, 7.25 and 7.85 are going to be targets. Let me correct myself. That's my first target right there. Let's see if we can get the follow through before we react too hard. But it's starting to look promising, and I'm starting to really like the volume that's coming into it as it surges off the low. Arrowhead, another one. This was a beauty for us last year, if you remember. It ran all the way from the high single digits, like 7 or 8, all the way into the 20s. And I think you'll see that chart in my book too. Anyway, the stock rolled over in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave decline. Moved up, double topped, and then backed off to retest, made higher lows. But today was significant, I think. Arrowhead, after the CEO talked on CNBC, the stock suddenly surged. Now, what I want to do is take this out and take that out so you can see the peekaboo move across resistance here. Right across that level. And that, on a volume of 6.4 million, was the biggest volume we've seen in 4 or 5 weeks. At this point, I'm looking for the stock to make a move up towards the 1280 to 13.25 zone, 13.5, something like that. So we'll see if there's a follow through, and if so, we may have a trade on this one. BCRX, this is a swing trade. It's doing well. It did have a pullback. We swung it here, a very nice move up. It's pulled back to do a retest on about a 50% fib retracement to the rising moving averages and trend line. It broke out, it pulled back to that line right there, and today popped 51 cents at 4.34%. More importantly, decent volume, but not the volume we want to see just yet. There's 5 days to cover shorts. So this little left shoulder, head, right shoulder, perhaps inverted head and shoulders should lead or could lead to about 15 3/4 to 16.25 up in that zone. But first, my first target is going to be another retest of 13, 13, 15 area, and we'll see if we can get through that. Up next is BDSI, yet another swing trade that's doing well. Popped out here, coiled there, broke out, formed a little wedge, and then backed off. But for a week, it held right there near support. And today it popped 50 cents or 4%, 590,000. Increasing volume, but coming across here, it's going to be very interesting to see if this stock is able to make it up to the 14.25 half area, my first target, and the secondary, more intermediate target is 17. Well, BIOF continues to do its thing. Notice the strong volume of the last 5 sessions. But also notice that this stock has been up for 5 days in a row. And now, the key to today's action, I think, is that what looks like a wedge may have broken out with 1.8 million shares. So I'm looking to see if this can get going. Now, the reason why this line is there is back on the spike high from 2012 when the stock ran up to 10 3/4. So the immediate target is 10 3/4, but if you take a look at the longer term pattern in the top of this channel, this could be a very, very interesting stock getting into the high teens and then low 20s. For now, let's see if we can retest and take out that 10 3/4 range, my initial target. GoPro still looking good to me. Let's look at it on a 15-minute basis. Lots of lines on here, so it may be a bit confusing, but for the most part, what I'm seeing on GoPro, when you stretch this out a little bit, is a large left shoulder head and a kind of a platform here. It's not quite a head and shoulder pattern, but it resembles one. There's the neckline though, and this is what we're waiting for. A key move through resistance. Now today, the stock ran up to a new several session high before backing off. It got up to as high as 44.75. Not quite what I needed to get breakout, 44.83 here. So you can see that the stock is in a rising channel, but in a consolidation mode. And if we can just pop out of here, we should see 45. But I think something's going to happen big time if this stock gets through here, and it may be the earnings. Oops, hang on a sec. Here's an hourly chart. If he gets to that line, we could see the stock run all the way back into the high 40s, my swing target being 48. So, great. GWPH, that's GW Pharmaceuticals. On the daily chart, obviously, the really big move this year. And then the pullback came, the falling wedge. We popped it out and traded that. And then today, it popped out again. Beautiful intraday morning trade, taking GWPH from the 84 range up to 90. You can see how it stuck its head out above that line. I fully expect this to test the 93.5, 4.5 zone up here. If it gets through that, we're on our way again to big numbers. MGM popped with big volume. I wanted to put down a swing trade on this one, but it did back off at the close. Not a good way to finish when you break out. So let's see if that is going to has to back off one more time, or whether it's going to be able to spike up. Now, looking at the longer-term target, you can see that this has a possibility of being a $31 stock. OPLK, Uplink, don't talk about it much, and it's not a heavily traded stock, but believe it or not, 400,000 shares today was the biggest volume it's traded, or among the biggest volumes it's traded all year. So with a breakout out of this head and shoulders type pattern through the neckline, I expect it to accelerate and test the near 20 range tomorrow, as quickly as tomorrow. If it gets through that range, and that's key resistance, you can see the spike up into the low 20s. PCYC had a terrific day today on very strong drug news, breaking out of this basing pattern and exploding for 16 points of 15% on 4 million shares. So all that combination gets it right up to key resistance zone. Through that, I'm looking for 144.45. That's my next target, 20 more points. But it may back and fill in here first. We shall see. PGTI, an important move today. As you can see, after a big uptrend, it broke down. Could not get back up here, here, and here, then rolled over, but today spiked back up 202 or 27% on 3.4 million, breaking through 3 moving averages and a declining tops line. So for the most part, this one looks to me like we're headed even higher. I have a target around, just for starters, a test of the $11 range. And once we're through that, 12.5. Plug. I know a lot of you guys are anxious about it, but I see this spike breakout, the big reversal day, a 3-day pullback held support, and back up again for 3 days. What's interesting about it, although the volume has increased for 3 days and the stock is up for 3 days, it hasn't closed well for 3 days. Well, for the first day it did, but the last 2 days below the mid-range line, and today actually back down here. So I want to see it get back to 630, 35 before I can say this is headed to 8.25. RFMD's been fabulous all year. The breakout here in a beautiful rising channel. I wanted to point out it was up another 46 cents or 4%, but it did tag the top of the channel today. There may be some resistance here. We'll see. If it continues, my target's 13. Synchronous with a big breakout today. Take a look at the long-term chart. There's big consolidation now for more than a year, year and a half. It was broken with a thrust and a breakaway gap. 1.9 million traded. It closed up 506 at 14.6%, and may very well be on its way as it's broken out across these highs to test the all-time highs from 07 back about 48. That's my next target if it breaks through the current range here. And if you take a look at the 2-day chart, you'll see that this range here was broken out at the close today. And lastly, we have 2 more to go. Tour, T-O-U-R, acting very well. I like the way it spiked up after the IPO, consolidated, formed kind of a left shoulder, head, right shoulder type pattern, and then, or you can even call it a big wedge. Either way, it spiked up yesterday. It followed through today. It didn't close great, but I do think it has some upside potential to get into the mid-20s. And lastly, Zeltique. Really like the way this looks, but I want to let you know about, in after hours, check this out. Strong report, the stock spiked from 16.5 to 21.5. It's trading 21.5, up 5. So this should be an interesting day tomorrow. And 21.5 puts it up here near this resistance. So we'll see if we can blow through that and get up to the next level at 24. But for now, this is HB signing off. Have a good evening, everybody.